How many times have you set a goal, felt motivated at first, but then found yourself distracted or losing focus? It's frustrating, right? You want to stay on track, but life keeps throwing things at you. But here's the thing, focus is everything. If you can learn how to keep your focus strong, you'll achieve more than you ever thought possible. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can protect your focus and stay committed to your goals, no matter what. We'll discuss how to deal with distractions, how to get back on track when you fall off, and how to keep your mind sharp, even when motivation fades. If you're serious about getting things done and achieving success, this video is for you. Stay with me, and you'll walk away with the tools you need to keep your focus locked in and never lose sight of what matters most. Number 1, focus on one task until it's completely finished. The world, as it stands right now, is built on distractions. Everywhere you look, something is fighting for your attention. The phone in your pocket, the people around you, the endless scroll of social media, every single one of these things is a distraction. And while these distractions might feel harmless, they're slowly eroding your ability to focus, to truly zero in on what matters most. And here's the thing, when you lose your focus, you lose your progress. Think about that for a moment. Every time you divert your attention, every time you jump from one task to another, you're scattering your energy, wasting your time, and making it that much harder to make any real progress. So today I'm going to share something powerful with you. If you want to succeed, if you want to create something meaningful, if you want to reach your full potential, then you need to learn how to focus on one task at a time and finish it. And I don't mean just getting it done halfway or just ticking the box. I mean finish it completely. It's so easy to get caught up in the idea that we need to be doing 1,000 things at once. We think if we're multitasking, we're being productive. But here's the cold, hard truth. Multitasking is a lie. It's a trap. You cannot give your best to multiple things at once. You just can't. It's not possible. Every time you try, your mind jumps from one thing to the next, and every jump costs you. It costs you time. It costs you clarity. It costs you energy. And worst of all, it costs you your ability to produce quality work. The most successful people, the ones who have truly mastered their craft, have learned to do one thing at a time, and to do it well. They're not distracted by every shiny object that comes their way. They don't chase after every new opportunity. They focus on one thing, and they give it everything they've got until it's done. And this is where you need to start too. The power of focusing on one task until it's completely finished lies in the fact that it allows you to build momentum. Momentum is everything. Once you start something, and you give it your full attention, you begin to build a rhythm, a flow that makes it easier to keep going. The first few minutes might feel a little tough, sure, but as you continue, you start to see results. And when you start to see results, you begin to feel good about the work you're doing. You feel a sense of accomplishment, and that fuels you to keep pushing forward. But the real secret to momentum is that it creates more momentum. You see, once you finish one thing, it opens the door for you to move on to the next thing, with even more focus. It builds confidence in your ability to get things done. And confidence is one of the most powerful forces you can tap into. When you know you can focus, when you know you can finish something, it becomes a habit. And that habit becomes a part of your identity. You start to see yourself as someone who can get things done. And when you see yourself that way, you act accordingly. Let's talk about the opposite for a second. What happens when you jump from task to task, leaving things unfinished? You know what happens? You start to feel overwhelmed. You start to feel like you're always busy, but you're never making any real progress. You feel stuck. And here's the thing about feeling stuck. It's exhausting. It drains you. You feel like you're running in place, and the more you run, the more tired you get, but nothing ever gets done. Now let's get really clear about what focusing on one task until it's finished looks like in real life. This isn't about simply saying I'm going to focus. It's about creating a system, a structure that forces you to stay on task. It starts with eliminating distractions. You can't expect to focus when your phone is buzzing every 5 minutes. You can't expect to focus when there's noise and chaos around you. You need to create a space where you can work uninterrupted. One of the best ways to do this is to set specific times to work on certain tasks. You're going to block out time for each task, and during that time you're going to focus solely on that task. No checking emails, no scrolling through social media, No getting up to grab a snack every 5 minutes. You're going to sit down, focus, and commit to staying on that task until it's finished. But here's where it gets real. You have to be disciplined. You have to be willing to make sacrifices. If you want to achieve great things, you have to be willing to say no to things that don't matter. You have to say no to distractions, to the things that seem urgent but aren't actually important. You have to say no to the little things that pull your focus away from what truly matters. And it's not easy. Let's be honest. It's not easy to resist the temptation to check your phone or take a break. It's not easy to sit down and focus for hours at a time. But that's what it takes to build something extraordinary. That's what it takes to build momentum. That's what it takes to finish what you start. So how do you stay focused? How do you make sure you're not just wasting time? The first thing is to create a clear plan. Before you start, know exactly what you're going to do and how long you're going to do it for. Set a timer if you have to, but make sure you have a clear, actionable plan that you can stick to. Next, break your tasks down into smaller, manageable chunks. This is huge. If you're working on something big, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But if you break it down into smaller steps, it becomes much easier to focus. You can focus on one small step at a time, and before you know it, the whole task is done. Now here's something else that's important. Stay accountable. Accountability is key to staying on track. Tell someone about your goals. Let them know what you're working on, and ask them to check in on you. Even if it's just a friend or family member, knowing someone else is watching can help you stay focused. Another great strategy is to reward yourself when you finish a task. Rewarding yourself gives you something to look forward to. It makes the work feel worth it. But the reward needs to be something that's going to keep you motivated. Something that excites you. Maybe it's a break. Maybe it's a treat. Whatever it is, make sure it's something that fuels you to keep going. And don't forget the power of rest. It might sound counterintuitive, but sometimes the best way to stay focused is to give yourself permission to rest. You can't work at your best when you're burnt out. Take breaks when you need them, but make sure you're staying intentional with your focus when you're working. Here's something I want you to remember. Finishing is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. The difference between those who make their dreams a reality and those who don't isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. It's focus. It's the ability to focus on one thing, to commit to it, and to finish it. That's what makes the difference. So if you want to achieve your dreams, if you want to get to the next level, you need to focus on one task at a time. You need to finish what you start. Because when you finish, you build confidence, you build momentum, and you start to make real progress. Remember, distractions are everywhere, but your future is worth it. The work you're doing now, the focus you're putting in, it's all leading to something bigger. So when you feel the temptation to jump to something else, when you feel the urge to leave something unfinished, remind yourself of this: your success is on the other side of focus. Your dreams are waiting for you on the other side of doing one thing at a time and doing it well. You've got this. Stay focused, stay committed, and finish what you start. Because when you do, you're going to look back and see how far you've come. And you're going to be proud of the work you've done and the person you've become. Focus on one task until it's completely finished, and watch your life transform. Number 2, eliminate distractions by creating a focused and quiet space. When you think about your work, your goals, and your dreams, you've got to recognize something very important. Focus is one of the most critical factors in achieving everything you want in life. And here's the thing. Focus is a fragile thing. It's easily disrupted, easily distracted, and sometimes it's all too easy to lose. One of the biggest barriers to focus that I see so many people struggle with today is distractions. Distractions are everywhere. Whether it's the buzz of a phone, the noise of the outside world, or just the constant flow of information coming at you from every direction, distractions are robbing you of your potential. But here's the truth. You can control that. You can choose to eliminate distractions by creating a space that encourages focus, a space where your mind can truly zero in on what matters. I want you to think about something for a second. Think about a time when you were in a deep state of concentration, when you were truly in the zone, when everything around you faded away and you could just focus. Remember how powerful that felt? That's where you need to live. That's the environment you need to create. Focus doesn't happen by accident. It's a result of deliberate effort. And one of the most powerful ways to ensure you can focus is by creating a space where distractions simply don't exist. You see, distractions are not just physical. Yes, the phone, the noise, the clutter, all those things take your attention away. But there are mental distractions as well. There are thoughts and worries that pull you away from what you're doing. And if your environment is filled with chaos and clutter, it becomes much harder to deal with those mental distractions. The first step to eliminating distractions is recognizing that they're everywhere. They're in your environment, in your mind, and they come in many different forms. And you've got to understand that no matter what, you have the power to create an environment that nurtures your focus. Let's break this down. The first thing you need to do is take a serious look at your physical environment. If you're trying to focus, but you're surrounded by clutter, noise, and disorganization, it's no wonder your mind is constantly jumping from one thing to the next. A chaotic environment breeds a chaotic mind. So start by clearing the clutter. Get rid of everything that doesn't serve your purpose in that moment. If you're working, only keep the items related to the task at hand in front of you. Everything else should be out of sight and out of mind. This doesn't just apply to physical clutter. It also means getting rid of distractions that come from your devices. How many times have you been working on something, only to get a notification from your phone or your computer, pulling you away from what you're doing? That's not just an inconvenience. That's a full disruption. And every time you get distracted, it takes time to get back into the flow of what you were doing. Time that you'll never get back. So eliminate those distractions. Turn off notifications. Silence your phone. And if you can, even put it in another room. Yes, I know it feels like you're disconnected, but the truth is, you're not. You're simply giving yourself the space to do your best work. Next, let's talk about your mental space. Your mind is just as prone to distraction as your physical environment. It's so easy to get lost in thoughts that take you away from what you're doing. Worries, stress, doubts, these things can be just as distracting as anything physical in your environment. But here's the key. You can control your mind just like you control your space. If you allow your mind to wander and jump from one thought to another, you'll never be able to focus on the task at hand. So you need to start practicing mental discipline. One powerful way to do this is by setting clear intentions before you begin any task. Ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish in this moment? And when distractions start creeping in, whether it's a thought or a worry, acknowledge it. But don't let it take over. Refocus your mind by returning to your intention. Another thing you need to do is set boundaries. Boundaries are essential for eliminating distractions, both externally and internally. When you're in your focused space, let people know that you're not to be disturbed. This might mean putting a sign on the door or simply telling your family or colleagues that you need uninterrupted time. Creating boundaries also means giving yourself permission to focus without guilt. Many people feel guilty when they focus on their work or their goals, especially when they feel like they should be doing something else. But here's the truth. You have to take care of your focus in order to take care of everything else. So give yourself permission to be fully immersed in the task at hand. Now let's talk about the importance of routine. Creating a focused space doesn't just mean cleaning up your physical space or turning off your phone. It also means creating a routine that supports your focus. When you have a routine, your brain knows exactly what to expect. It knows when it's time to focus and when it's time to rest. This structure helps you stay disciplined and helps your mind enter a focused state more easily. When you're consistently creating the space to focus, it becomes easier to stay in that space. You build momentum, and as you do, you'll find that your ability to focus improves over time. But here's where most people fall short. They think that just eliminating distractions is enough. They think that if they clean their desk, silence their phone, and try to focus, that's all it takes. But here's the catch. Creating a truly focused space means being intentional about the entire process. You have to approach it with purpose. You have to design your environment, your habits, and your mindset in a way that supports your ability to focus. That means being intentional about the kind of music you listen to, the lighting in the room, and even the way you sit. Every little detail matters. It's not about creating a sterile, lifeless space. It's about creating a space that encourages productivity, creativity, and focus. A focused space doesn't just happen by accident. It's something you have to build and maintain. And the best part is, once you create that space, it becomes a tool you can rely on. It becomes your secret weapon. You'll find that once you've eliminated distractions and created a space where you can focus, your ability to get things done skyrockets. You'll accomplish more in less time, and you'll do it with a sense of clarity and purpose. But I want you to remember something important. Creating a focused space isn't just about physical objects or surroundings. It's about your mindset. It's about understanding that you have the power to control your environment and your attention. Every time you choose to eliminate distractions, you're choosing to invest in your own success. You're choosing to give yourself the best chance to create something meaningful. And when you do that, you'll start to see results. You'll start to see how much more you can accomplish when you give yourself the space to focus. So take a look at your environment right now. How can you make it more conducive to focus? How can you remove the distractions that are slowing you down? What boundaries can you set to protect your time and your energy? Once you start creating a space for focus, you'll be amazed at how much you can get done. You'll be amazed at the power of eliminating distractions. Focused work is the work that produces the results. It's the work that drives you forward. And once you create the space for that, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Number 3, prioritize your goals and say no to non-essential tasks. The most successful people in this world are masters at one thing: prioritizing their goals. They understand that not everything is important. They recognize that they can't do it all, and even if they could, doing everything wouldn't get them the results they truly want. They make deliberate choices. They focus on what matters most, and they say no to everything else. This is the power of prioritization, and this is the key to real success. You have limited time. You can't afford to waste it on things that don't move you toward your bigger goals. So how do you decide what's important and what isn't? How do you figure out what to focus on and what to let go of? It starts with being crystal clear about your goals, your purpose, and your vision. If you don't know what you're working toward, you're going to get pulled in 1,000 different directions. You'll end up wasting time on things that don't matter. But when you're clear about your goals, when you know what you want to achieve, everything else becomes a lot easier to evaluate. Here's the reality. Life is full of distractions, temptations, and requests from others. People want your time, your energy, your attention. They want you to do things that might seem urgent, but are they really important? Are they aligned with your vision? The truth is, a lot of the things that seem urgent are just noise. They're distractions that keep you from doing the work that will truly move the needle in your life. And if you're not careful, these distractions will eat up your time, your energy, and your focus. They'll prevent you from achieving the success you deserve. To really achieve your goals, you need to develop the discipline to say no. You need to learn to say no to things that don't contribute to your bigger vision. Saying no is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It's not about being selfish or rude. It's about recognizing that your time is precious and that you can't afford to waste it. Saying no is a form of self-respect. It's about honoring your own vision and committing to the work that truly matters. The key to saying no is having a strong sense of purpose. When you know what you want, it's much easier to filter out the distractions and stay focused on what's important. If your goal is to build a successful business, then a request to join a committee for a cause that doesn't align with your vision is an easy no. If your goal is to improve your health, then late-night social outings that keep you from getting enough rest or exercising become a clear no. If your goal is to write a book, then social media scrolling or responding to every email immediately will just have to wait. Saying no is about making intentional choices, and those choices have a compounding effect on your life. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're making room for something that does. You must understand this. When you prioritize your goals, it's not just about saying yes to what's important. It's also about saying no to things that seem important in the moment, but aren't aligned with your greater purpose. Think about the constant barrage of emails, phone calls, and meetings that don't move you forward. Think about the times you've spent on tasks that don't contribute to your long-term goals. These are all examples of non-essential tasks that are draining your time and energy. Now, I want to give you something practical. How do you know when to say no? How do you know when something is really worth your time? The first step is clarity. You have to be crystal clear on what you want to achieve and why it matters. What are your top goals? What are the things that truly excite you, that you know will move you toward your dream life? Once you've identified your goals, every opportunity, every request, every task becomes a filter. Does it move you closer to your goals? If the answer is no, then it's time to say no. But it's not just about big decisions. It's also about the little choices that add up over time. Maybe it's the time spent binge watching TV shows when you could be reading, studying, or working toward your goals. Maybe it's the small, seemingly harmless distractions that add up to hours of wasted time. Every time you allow yourself to get distracted by these things, you're choosing not to prioritize what matters. You're choosing not to prioritize your goals. And if you want to build something extraordinary, you need to start making different choices. You need to start saying no to those distractions, no matter how small they seem. Think about your daily routine. How many of your daily habits are helping you get closer to your goals, and how many are simply filling time? I'm not saying that you should be working non-stop, but I am saying that you need to be intentional with your time. You need to make sure that the time you spend every day is aligned with what you truly want to achieve. This means evaluating how you're spending your time. Are the things you're doing moving you toward your goals, or are they just occupying your time? The most successful people don't wait for opportunities to fall in their lap. They create their own opportunities by making deliberate choices and prioritizing their time. They understand that success doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of consistent, focused effort on the things that matter most. And this is what you need to do as well. Start by identifying your most important goals. Then prioritize your time around those goals. Say no to anything that doesn't serve those goals. Protect your time. Don't let anyone or anything distract you from what truly matters. And remember, saying no is a skill that gets easier with practice. The more you say no to the things that don't matter, the easier it becomes to say yes to the things that do. Now let's talk about the consequences of not saying no. If you fail to prioritize your goals, if you fail to say no to the things that are distracting you, you'll find yourself constantly busy, but never making any real progress. You'll feel like you're working hard, but you won't see the results you're looking for. You'll look around and realize that you've been spending all your time on things that don't matter, and your bigger goals are slipping further and further out of reach. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But the good news is, you don't have to live like that. You can make a choice today to start prioritizing what matters. You can start saying no to the things that are holding you back, and you can begin focusing on the things that will bring you closer to your vision. The moment you make that decision, your life will begin to change. Your focus will sharpen. Your energy will be directed toward the things that matter most. You'll start seeing progress, and that progress will fuel you to keep going. Saying no to distractions is a powerful tool, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. The real secret to success lies in the ability to prioritize, to stay focused on what's important, and to make choices that move you toward your goals. So take a moment today and ask yourself, what are my top priorities? What are the things that will move me forward? And then look at your life. What are you spending your time on that isn't aligned with those priorities? And how can you start saying no to those things? The answers to these questions will give you the clarity you need to start making better decisions, better choices, and better progress. Every time you say no to a non-essential task, you're saying yes to your goals. And the more you do that, the closer you'll get to the life you've always dreamed of. Number 4, train your mind to stay present in every moment. The ability to stay present, to truly be in the moment, is one of the most important skills you can develop. You see, life is happening right now. This very moment is all you have. And if you're not fully engaged with it, you're letting life slip through your fingers. We live in a world where we're constantly pulled in different directions. We're always multitasking, thinking about the past, worrying about the future, and it's easy to get lost in our own thoughts. But here's the truth. When you're not present, you're not living, you're just existing. We've all experienced those moments when we're physically somewhere, but our minds are somewhere else. Maybe you're in a meeting, but your thoughts are on something else. Maybe you're spending time with someone, but your mind is on a to-do list, or something that happened earlier in the day. You're not truly engaging with the moment, and because of that, you're missing out on the richness of life. The real secret to living fully, to experiencing life in its most vibrant and meaningful form, is to train your mind to stay present. The first step in doing this is recognizing just how often we slip out of the present moment. When you're aware of how easily your mind drifts, you start to realize how much you're actually missing. And once you're aware of that, you can start to do something about it. Staying present isn't just about focusing on one thing. It's about being fully immersed in whatever you're doing right now, giving your full attention to the task at hand, to the person in front of you, or to whatever moment you find yourself in. It's about saying, right now, this is the most important thing in my world. It's about letting go of everything else, even if just for a few minutes, and allowing yourself to be fully engaged. The biggest challenge we face today when it comes to staying present is the constant stream of distractions. Our phones, social media, emails, notifications, all of these things pull us away from the present moment. And not only do these distractions take us out of the moment, they also make it harder to focus when we need to. But here's the thing, you control your attention. You choose where you place it. And if you want to train your mind to stay present, it starts with deciding that you will no longer allow distractions to rule your life. Start by creating the right environment. If you're serious about being present, you have to eliminate distractions as much as possible. Turn off notifications on your phone, put your phone out of reach, or even put it in another room if necessary. This is a simple but incredibly effective way to train your mind to focus. The fewer distractions you have, the easier it becomes to stay present. But it's not just about the external distractions. It's also about the internal distractions. The thoughts that pop up in your mind that pull you away from the present. When you're trying to focus, it's common for random thoughts to invade your mind. Maybe you're thinking about something that happened earlier, or maybe you're worrying about something that's coming up. These thoughts can steal your focus, but you don't have to let them. The key is learning how to acknowledge them without letting them take over. When a thought comes up that's not related to the task at hand, simply recognize it for what it is, just a thought, and then let it go. Don't give it any more energy than it deserves. The best way to stay present is to immerse yourself in the moment. And to do that, you need to train your mind to focus on what's in front of you. If you're working, give your full attention to the work. If you're talking to someone, give them your full attention. If you're eating, then focus on the taste, the texture, the experience of eating. The more you train yourself to focus on one thing at a time, the better you get at it, and over time your ability to stay present will improve. Another powerful tool for staying present is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. It's about being fully conscious of what's happening right now, in this moment. One simple way to practice mindfulness is to take a few moments throughout your day to just stop and observe. Pay attention to your breath, to the sounds around you, to your own thoughts and feelings. It's about becoming aware of the present moment without getting caught up in it. The more you practice mindfulness, the better you'll become at staying present, because it helps you develop an awareness of what's happening right now without getting distracted by everything else. And here's something important. Being present isn't just about focus. It's also about being fully engaged with the moment, emotionally and mentally. It's about truly experiencing whatever you're doing. If you're having a conversation, be fully engaged with the other person. If you're working on a project, immerse yourself in it completely. Don't just go through the motions. Feel the experience. When you're fully engaged in the present, it feels like time slows down. You feel more connected, more alive, and you experience things at a deeper level. One of the best ways to stay present is to practice deep listening. When you listen deeply, you're not just hearing the words someone is saying, you're really hearing them. You're paying attention to their tone, their body language, their emotions. You're fully engaged in the moment. And when you do this, not only do you become more present, but you also strengthen your relationships with others. People appreciate when they feel truly heard. And being present in those moments can have a profound impact on your personal and professional connections. Another way to train your mind to stay present is by setting clear intentions. Before you begin any task or activity, ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish in this moment? Whether it's a work task, a conversation, or even just a walk in the park, setting an intention helps you stay focused. It gives you a clear goal for that moment, and it helps you stay on track. When you know what you want to get out of the moment, it's much easier to stay present and avoid distractions. You see, the more you train yourself to stay present, the more you begin to understand the power of the present moment. You realize that all you truly have is right now. The past is gone. The future isn't here yet. And all you can control is what you do in the present. And when you give your full attention to the present moment, you open yourself up to new experiences, new insights, and new possibilities. Your life becomes richer, more meaningful, and more fulfilling. Now let's talk about the benefits of staying present. The first and most obvious benefit is that it makes you more productive. When you're focused and present, you get more done. You're not distracted by thoughts or external factors, and you're able to complete tasks more efficiently. You make fewer mistakes because you're fully engaged in what you're doing, and that allows you to produce higher quality work. But the benefits go beyond productivity. When you're present, you're more creative. You're able to tap into new ideas and new solutions because you're not bogged down by distractions. Your mind is clear, and that clarity allows for better decision-making and problem-solving. When you're present, you become more attuned to the world around you, and that opens you up to new possibilities and opportunities. Staying present also improves your mental and emotional health. When you're fully engaged in the moment, you reduce stress and anxiety. You're not caught up in worrying about the past or the future, and that allows you to experience peace and calm. It's like a reset for your mind. You stop overthinking, you stop dwelling on what's gone wrong or what might go wrong, and you start to enjoy the present. The more you practice being present, the more you start to enjoy life. You start to appreciate the little things, the beauty of nature, the joy of a conversation, the satisfaction of completing a task. You stop rushing through life, and you start savoring each moment. This is the true richness of life. The more present you are, the more fulfilling your life becomes. So how do you get started with training your mind to stay present? Start by becoming aware of when you're not present. Notice the moments when your mind starts to wander. When you're thinking about the past or worrying about the future, recognize those moments and gently bring your attention back to the present. Practice mindfulness and deep listening. Set clear intentions for every task you undertake. And most importantly, commit to being present in every moment. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And over time, you'll find that staying present becomes second nature. The key to a fulfilled life is in the present moment. Train your mind to stay there, and you'll unlock a level of clarity, peace, and joy that you never thought possible. Number 5. Break large tasks into smaller, actionable steps every day. The biggest mistake people make when facing large tasks or ambitious goals is they see them as one massive, insurmountable challenge. They look at the end result and think, there's no way I can do this. And I get it. A big goal can be intimidating. It can overwhelm you to the point where you don't even know where to start. But here's the secret. Success doesn't come from completing a massive task all at once. It comes from breaking that task into manageable steps and taking consistent daily action toward it. You see, the key to accomplishing anything significant in life isn't in trying to tackle everything at once. It's in breaking the work down into smaller, bite-sized pieces that you can focus on each day. By doing this, you're not just making the task more achievable, you're also building momentum. You're creating a series of small wins that ultimately lead to the larger win. So how do you break a large task into smaller, actionable steps? The first thing you need to do is get clear on what the final goal looks like. This sounds simple, but so many people miss this step. If you don't know exactly what you want to achieve, how can you break it down into smaller steps? Whether it's finishing a big project at work, writing a book, or getting in shape, you need to know the exact end result you're aiming for. What does success look like for you? Once you've defined the end goal, you need to break it down into smaller, actionable steps. A big task may have dozens or even hundreds of smaller components, and that's okay. The key is to focus on the immediate next step, not the entire project. Don't get bogged down in the overwhelming scale of the task. Break it into small, manageable pieces that you can focus on today. For example, if your goal is to write a book, instead of thinking, I have to write 300 pages, think, I'll write 500 words today. And the next day, write another 500 words. Over time, those 500 words will add up. And before you know it, you'll have a completed manuscript. By focusing on the small daily actions, You eliminate the pressure of having to accomplish everything at once. The beauty of breaking things down is that it reduces procrastination. Many people put off tasks because they're scared of how big or difficult they seem. But when you break it into small pieces, you remove that intimidation factor. Each day, you simply focus on the next step. And that makes it so much easier to get started, because you're not trying to do everything at once. The goal becomes manageable. Here's another key point. When you break a large task into smaller steps, you give yourself clear, measurable milestones. These milestones serve as checkpoints along the way, and they give you something to celebrate. Every time you hit one of these milestones, you're creating momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in achieving big goals. When you see progress, even if it's small, it motivates you to keep going. But breaking a task into smaller steps isn't just about making things feel easier. It's about creating a system for daily progress. It's about developing a routine and committing to that routine every day. When you make small, consistent actions part of your daily schedule, you create a sense of discipline. Discipline isn't about willpower or motivation. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work because it's what you said you would do, no matter how small the step. Now let's talk about how to actually break down a big task into smaller steps. The first thing you need to do is identify the larger components of the task. Let's say your goal is to get fit. You could break that down into things like researching a workout plan, setting a schedule, purchasing the necessary equipment, and so on. If your goal is a project at work, you could break it down into key tasks like research, outlining, drafting, editing, and presenting. Once you've broken the task down into its main components, start to further deconstruct each one. Take research, for example. Instead of thinking about it as one big task, break it into smaller, specific actions, like finding sources, reading articles, taking notes, and organizing the information. Now, you're not just thinking about research. You're thinking about a series of specific tasks that you can complete one at a time. After you've broken the task into small components, prioritize them. Not all steps are equal. Some tasks need to be done before others, and some will have a bigger impact on your progress. By prioritizing, you ensure that you're working on the right things at the right time. It also helps you avoid feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of tasks. Instead of worrying about everything at once, you can focus on what matters most in the moment. At this point, you have your smaller tasks broken down, and you've prioritized them. The next step is to schedule time each day to work on these tasks. The power of consistency cannot be overstated. It's not about working hard for one intense burst and then burning out. It's about showing up every day, even if it's just for 15 or 30 minutes. Consistent action, no matter how small, adds up over time. The key here is to set realistic expectations. Don't expect yourself to be perfect. Some days you'll make more progress than others, and that's okay. The important thing is that you're making progress, no matter how small. Even on days when you feel like you're not accomplishing much, you're still moving forward. As you work through these smaller tasks day by day, you'll begin to see results, and those results will motivate you to keep going. This is the power of momentum. The more you achieve, the more you want to achieve. The sense of accomplishment that comes from completing each step propels you forward. But there's another crucial part of breaking tasks into smaller steps, and that's tracking your progress. When you track your progress, you get to see how far you've come. This serves as both motivation and feedback. It shows you that your small daily actions are leading to bigger results. It helps you stay accountable, and it keeps you focused. So track your progress, whether that's by marking off tasks on a to-do list, using an app, or writing in a journal. This process of breaking down large tasks into smaller steps and taking daily action can be applied to virtually any goal, whether it's personal, professional, or academic. Breaking things down makes them more manageable and less overwhelming. It helps you see that achieving big goals isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. One of the key benefits of breaking large tasks down into smaller steps is that it keeps you from getting distracted. When you focus on one small task at a time, you're less likely to become overwhelmed by the enormity of the project. And when you complete each small task, it provides a sense of accomplishment and keeps you engaged. So remember, it's not about trying to finish everything at once. It's about focusing on the next step. When you focus on one small step at a time, you create a path forward. And as you keep moving down that path, you'll eventually reach your goal. This is how big goals are achieved. Not by trying to do everything all at once, but by breaking them down into manageable steps and making consistent progress each day. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Motivation is fleeting, and it's unreliable. Instead, focus on consistency. Consistency is what builds momentum and drives results. It's about doing the work every single day, regardless of how you feel. Some days you'll be energized and excited. Other days you'll feel tired or distracted. But if you keep showing up, if you keep taking those small steps forward, you'll eventually achieve your goal. In the end, the key to accomplishing anything is simple. Break it down and take it one step at a time. Whether it's a massive project, a long-term goal, or a dream that seems out of reach, the way forward is through small, consistent actions. Start today. Break your goal down into smaller, actionable steps and get to work. The journey may be long, but every step you take brings you closer to the finish line. Stay committed, stay focused, and trust the process. The results will come. Number 6, hold yourself accountable and track your progress daily. It's the driving force that pushes you forward, that keeps you on track when things get tough, and that holds you to the promises you make to yourself. You can have all the motivation in the world, but without accountability, that motivation is likely to fade. The truth is, when you hold yourself accountable, you become the master of your own progress. Accountability is what makes you show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's what ensures you make progress toward your goals consistently, and not just on the days when motivation is high. To hold yourself accountable, you need a system that tracks your progress. It's not enough to just say you're going to do something. You need to measure your actions, track your results, and review your progress regularly. Without tracking, there's no way to see where you're succeeding and where you're falling short. Accountability isn't just about keeping promises to yourself. It's about being honest with yourself, about where you stand in the pursuit of your goals. Start by setting clear, measurable goals. This is the foundation of holding yourself accountable. Without clarity, it's easy to drift and become distracted. You need to know exactly what you're aiming for. This means defining your goals in concrete terms, not vague wishes. For example, instead of saying, "I want to get fit," say, "I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months," or "I want to run a 5K in 2 months." The more specific your goals, the easier it is to measure your progress and hold yourself accountable. Once your goals are defined, you need to break them down into smaller, manageable tasks. The big picture can often feel overwhelming, and that's where the real danger lies. When we're faced with something that feels insurmountable, we tend to procrastinate. But when we break it down into smaller pieces, it feels more achievable. These smaller tasks become your daily action items, the steps you take each day to bring you closer to your goal. And the beauty of these small steps is that they can be tracked. You'll know exactly what you need to do today to move forward. But tracking your progress is not just about marking things off a list. It's about being intentional and focused. You need to set time each day to review where you stand. This could be as simple as reviewing your daily progress at the end of each day. What did you accomplish? What went well? Where did you fall short? And what do you need to do tomorrow to get back on track? By taking time each day to review your progress, you are creating a feedback loop that keeps you aligned with your goals. This daily check-in serves as both a reflection and a course correction. It helps you recognize when you're veering off course, and it gives you the opportunity to get back on track before too much time has passed. One of the most common mistakes people make when trying to hold themselves accountable is failing to track their progress consistently. It's easy to start off strong, tracking everything meticulously, but as time goes on, that habit fades. You stop taking time to review your progress, and without that review, you start to lose sight of where you are. It's like driving a car without checking your mirrors or the dashboard. You might think you're on the right track, but without feedback, you could be heading in the wrong direction. This is why tracking your progress daily is so critical. It forces you to stay engaged with the process. It keeps you connected to your goals and prevents you from becoming complacent. You need to hold yourself accountable every single day, not just once in a while. It's not enough to just think about your goals. You need to track your progress in real time. Another aspect of accountability is being honest with yourself about the obstacles you're facing. It's easy to make excuses for why you're not progressing as fast as you'd like. You might say, I didn't have enough time today, or I didn't feel like doing it. The reality is, you have the time. You just didn't make it a priority. And when you're honest with yourself about this, you'll be able to make the necessary changes to stay on track. It's important to look at your progress each day and ask yourself if you're doing everything you can to move toward your goal. Accountability means being brutally honest about your efforts, and it's through this honesty that you'll find your true potential. Holding yourself accountable also means celebrating the small wins. Accountability is not just about pointing out where you've fallen short. It's about recognizing and rewarding your progress. When you take the time to acknowledge your wins, no matter how small, it reinforces the positive behavior. It builds momentum and keeps you motivated. Each small success is a building block that propels you forward. So don't forget to take a moment to celebrate your progress. This isn't about patting yourself on the back for doing the bare minimum. It's about acknowledging the effort you've put in and recognizing that each step brings you closer to your goal. You need to create a system for tracking that works for you. For some people, that means using a journal or planner. For others, it might mean using an app or a spreadsheet. The important thing is to have a system that you can commit to. It should be simple and easy to use. The more complex your tracking system is, the less likely you are to stick with it. Keep it simple, keep it consistent, and make it part of your daily routine. One of the most powerful aspects of accountability is the sense of responsibility it creates. When you track your progress every day, you're forced to take ownership of your actions. You stop blaming others or external circumstances for your lack of progress. Instead, you look at yourself and say, what can I do today to get closer to my goal? This shift in mindset is a game changer. You begin to see yourself as the person who is responsible for your success, and that responsibility drives you to take consistent action. Accountability doesn't just keep you on track, it helps you push through the tough moments. There will be days when you don't feel like working, when you're tired, or when you face setbacks. On those days, accountability becomes your anchor. The act of tracking your progress reminds you why you started in the first place. It forces you to ask, am I willing to let this one bad day derail my entire journey? And the answer, of course, is no. When you track your progress, you stay focused on the long-term goal, even when the short-term struggle is real. Lastly, accountability also allows you to adjust your approach when things aren't working. Not every plan will be perfect, and not every strategy will yield the results you want. But when you're tracking your progress daily, you'll notice when something isn't working. Maybe you're not making enough time for your goals, or perhaps the tasks you've set aren't challenging enough. When you can see these issues clearly, you can make the necessary adjustments to get back on track. Accountability allows you to refine your process, and that's how you improve over time. In conclusion, holding yourself accountable and tracking your progress daily is one of the most important habits you can develop for achieving your goals. It keeps you focused, it keeps you honest, and it keeps you moving forward. By setting clear goals, breaking them into smaller tasks, and tracking your progress every day, you create a system of accountability that ensures you stay on track. Accountability isn't just about checking off tasks, it's about taking ownership of your success and committing to the process, day in and day out. So start tracking your progress today. Hold yourself accountable and watch how your efforts compound into real, lasting success. Number 7, commit to consistency. Even when motivation starts to fade, consistency is the quiet force behind success. The steady hand that guides you when the excitement fades and when motivation isn't there to pull you forward. You see, motivation is a fleeting spark. It's powerful, it's energetic, but it's not reliable. One day you're feeling on top of the world, ready to conquer anything. And the next, you can barely summon the energy to take the first step. That's the reality of motivation. It ebbs and flows like the tide. If you rely solely on motivation to drive your actions, you'll quickly find yourself stuck in the same place, waiting for that next wave of inspiration to come. But here's the thing, motivation is overrated. What truly gets results is consistency. When you commit to consistency, you make a promise to yourself that no matter how you feel, you will show up. Even on the days when you don't feel like it. When you're tired or distracted or uninspired, you push forward. You don't let temporary feelings dictate your actions. You don't wait for motivation to show up. Instead, you make progress, one step at a time, every single day. Consistency is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Think about the most successful people you know, the ones who have achieved remarkable things. They don't rely on motivation to get them through the day. They rely on habits, on routines, on the quiet power of showing up consistently, even when they don't feel like it. It's easy to start something when you're excited, but it's the ability to keep going when that excitement fades that leads to lasting success. When motivation fades, and trust me, it will, you can either choose to quit or you can commit to consistency. The difference between the two is profound. Quitting means giving in to the temporary lack of motivation, letting it dictate your actions. Committing to consistency means pressing forward, knowing that results come not from bursts of effort, but from steady, daily work. It's about building momentum, even when that momentum feels slow. The key is to focus on the process, not the immediate results. Progress may be small on a day-to-day basis, but over time it compounds into something far greater than you could have imagined. It's important to recognize that consistency is not about perfection. It's not about doing everything right all the time. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing what you can, where you are, with what you have. Some days your effort might be more than others, and that's okay. The goal isn't to do everything perfectly. It's to keep going, even when things aren't going according to plan. There will be days when you fall short, and that's part of the process. What matters is that you get back up, dust yourself off, and commit to moving forward. To develop consistency, you need to build strong habits. These habits become the backbone of your daily actions. When you develop a habit, you don't have to think about it. You just do it. It becomes automatic. And when something becomes automatic, it's easier to keep doing it, even when motivation fades. It takes effort to build habits, but once they're in place, they work for you. They keep you on track, even when your emotions are all over the place. Habits are the foundation of consistency, and consistency is the key to long-term success. One powerful way to commit to consistency is to make your goals non-negotiable. When you set a goal, make it clear that there are no excuses. This doesn't mean being hard on yourself. It means making a firm decision to prioritize your goals above everything else. You set the intention that no matter what happens, you will keep moving forward. Life is going to throw challenges your way. There will be days when things don't go as planned, when you're faced with unexpected obstacles, and when everything feels like it's falling apart. But in those moments, your commitment to consistency will pull you through. You don't have to do everything perfectly. You just have to keep showing up, keep putting in the work. Another crucial aspect of consistency is accountability. When you hold yourself accountable for your actions, you create an extra layer of commitment to your goals. It's one thing to make a promise to yourself, but when you're accountable to others, you add an additional level of motivation. Whether that's sharing your goals with a friend, joining a support group, or working with a mentor, accountability can keep you on track, even when motivation is low. Knowing that someone else is watching and expecting progress can be a powerful motivator to keep going when you'd rather quit. But consistency isn't just about staying the course when things are easy. It's about showing up when it feels impossible. There will be days when the last thing you want to do is work towards your goal. You'll face exhaustion, distractions, and self-doubt. These are the moments when your commitment to consistency will be tested. And this is where the magic happens. It's easy to show up when you're feeling great, but the true growth comes when you show up even when you don't feel like it. Those are the days that matter the most. It's on those days that you build the mental and emotional muscles that will carry you through the hard times. Each time you push through when you don't want to, you reinforce your commitment to your goals, and you prove to yourself that you are capable of overcoming anything. Now, it's essential to understand that consistency doesn't mean doing more than you can handle. It doesn't mean pushing yourself to the point of burnout. Consistency is about finding a sustainable rhythm that works for you. It's about showing up day after day in a way that is manageable and realistic. If you try to do too much at once, you'll burn out quickly. But if you find a pace that allows you to keep moving forward without overwhelming yourself, you'll be able to sustain your efforts over the long term. Another key element of consistency is self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself when things don't go as planned. You might think, I didn't do enough today, or I messed up. But instead of beating yourself up, practice self-compassion. Understand that setbacks are part of the process. Progress is rarely linear, and there will be ups and downs along the way. What matters is not that you fail, but how you respond to failure. If you can show yourself compassion and keep moving forward, you'll stay consistent, even in the face of setbacks. Consistency is what builds trust with yourself. The more you show up, day after day, the more you prove to yourself that you can rely on your own word. And when you trust yourself, you develop confidence. You begin to believe in your ability to achieve your goals. Consistency is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It's what makes success inevitable. It's what transforms your dreams from fantasies into reality. When you commit to consistency, you take control of your destiny. You stop waiting for motivation to strike, and you start making things happen. You build a life based on your actions, not your emotions. You take small steps each day, knowing that over time those steps will lead to monumental changes. Success is not about doing everything right or getting everything perfect. It's about showing up again and again, even when it's tough. And when you commit to consistency, you unlock the power to achieve anything you set your mind to. Number 8, push through boredom and keep your eye on the goal. Boredom is a feeling we all face at one point or another. But let me tell you, boredom is the enemy of progress. It's the slow, creeping sensation that makes you feel like you're stuck, like the work you're doing doesn't matter, like you're just spinning your wheels. But here's the thing, boredom isn't a sign that you should quit. It's a sign that you're doing something meaningful, that you're in the middle of the grind, pushing towards something greater. It's easy to feel excitement in the beginning of any journey, when the novelty of a new goal or project is fresh. But the real test comes when that excitement fades and you find yourself doing the same tasks over and over again. That's where boredom creeps in, and that's where your discipline must take over. You've got to push through the boredom. The truth is, the tasks that lead to success are rarely glamorous. They're repetitive, sometimes dull, but they're necessary. And you must learn to embrace them if you want to reach your goals. Think about it. Every success story you've ever heard wasn't built on a few bursts of inspiration. It was built on boring, hard work. The work that's done when nobody's watching. The grind that gets done even when you're not feeling motivated. When you can push through that boredom and keep your eye on the goal, that's when you set yourself apart from the crowd. The world is full of people who start with excitement, but quit when the work gets mundane. What makes the difference is those who keep going, those who don't give up when it feels like there's no immediate reward. There's a common misconception that the journey towards success should always feel exhilarating. People think that if they're not constantly excited about what they're doing, then they must be on the wrong path. But here's the truth. Excitement is the spark, not the fire. It's the early momentum that gets you moving, but it's consistency that keeps you going. Success is achieved in the long haul, not in the first few miles. So when boredom starts to creep in, it's not a sign that you've made a wrong turn. It's just part of the process. It's a natural part of the climb. It's the moment when you either break through or fall off track. When boredom hits, remind yourself why you started in the first place. You've set goals, you've created a vision for your future, and you're moving toward that vision every single day. The mundane tasks you're doing right now are the building blocks of that future. Without them, you don't get anywhere. Every day you push through the boredom, you're one step closer to your goal. Every time you keep going, despite the lack of excitement, you're proving to yourself that you have the discipline to succeed. Success isn't about constant motivation. It's about sticking with it when motivation fades and boredom sets in. The temptation during these moments is to look for shortcuts, to search for a way out of the hard work. But let me tell you this, there are no shortcuts. The shortcut is consistency. The shortcut is doing the boring stuff day in and day out, even when it feels like you're not getting anywhere. The shortcut is understanding that success doesn't come from waiting for excitement to show up, but from doing the work even when the thrill has faded. The sooner you accept this, the easier it will be to push through the boredom. One of the most powerful things you can do in these moments is to remind yourself of the bigger picture. It's easy to get caught up in the small tasks and lose sight of the ultimate goal. When you're focused on the little details, it's easy for boredom to sneak in. But when you step back and see the bigger picture, the work you're doing takes on new meaning. You're not just doing a task. You're building something. You're creating something that will matter. And that's what will keep you going when boredom threatens to derail you. Another thing you can do to combat boredom is to find ways to make the process more engaging. Look for ways to challenge yourself, to make things a little more interesting. This might mean setting small milestones, rewarding yourself for progress, or changing the way you approach the task. Even small changes in your routine can make a big difference in how you feel about the work. But the key is to remember that the goal is not to avoid boredom altogether. It's to push through it and keep your focus on the bigger picture. You're not trying to make everything exciting. You're learning how to push forward, even when things feel dull. And remember, pushing through boredom doesn't mean forcing yourself to work non-stop. It's not about pushing harder or working longer hours. It's about making a commitment to stay on track, even when your mind starts to wander. It's about sticking to the process, even when the results aren't immediately visible. The true measure of success isn't how exciting the work is at the moment. It's how much progress you've made when the dust settles, and you look back at how far you've come. Boredom also has a way of testing your commitment. When things get boring, it's easy to feel like it's not worth it, like maybe you're not cut out for this after all. But this is the moment where you prove to yourself that you are. This is when you separate the dreamers from the doers. Dreamers talk about success. Doers work for it. When you push through the boredom, you show that you are a doer. You show that you are willing to put in the effort, even when it's not glamorous, even when it's not fun. That's what it takes to build a lasting legacy, to achieve the goals you've set for yourself. So how do you stay focused when the boredom hits? The first step is to remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. Keep that vision of your future front and center. Picture the life you want to create, the goals you want to achieve, and use that as fuel to keep moving forward. The second step is to commit to the process. Understand that the work you're doing right now is part of the journey. Even when it doesn't feel exciting, it's getting you closer to your goal. Finally, make a habit of pushing through the discomfort. When you feel bored, don't give in, stick with it, even when it's hard, because that's where the magic happens. Boredom is not a sign to stop, it's a sign to keep going. When you push through, you build mental toughness. You develop the discipline to keep going no matter what, and you strengthen your ability to focus. The ability to push through boredom is one of the most important skills you can develop if you want to succeed. It's what will carry you through the tough times, the moments when you want to quit, and when you push through, when you keep your eye on the goal and refuse to let boredom derail you, you become unstoppable. Keep your focus sharp, keep your eye on the prize, and remember that every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Number 9. Set clear boundaries with others to protect your focus. If you want to achieve anything significant in life, you've got to protect your focus. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is by setting clear boundaries with the people around you. We all have people in our lives who love us, care about us, and want to spend time with us. But here's the hard truth. Those same people can unknowingly distract you, derail your progress, and keep you from staying focused on what matters most. To truly protect your focus, you need to set boundaries, strong, clear, and unapologetic boundaries that allow you to stay on course without feeling guilty or overburdened by the demands of others. Setting boundaries isn't about being rude or selfish. It's about understanding that your time, energy, and mental focus are precious. You've got a mission, a vision, and a set of goals that require your full attention. If you want to stay focused and make real progress toward your dreams, you have to protect your energy from the constant interruptions and distractions that come from the people around you. And I'm not just talking about strangers or acquaintances. I'm talking about your closest friends, family, and colleagues. People who, out of love or habit, may pull you away from your focus. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself distracted by someone else's need for your time? It could be a phone call, a message, or a simple conversation that spirals into a lengthy discussion about something completely unrelated to your goals. Those distractions, no matter how well-meaning, are taking you away from the one thing that's going to move you forward, your focus. To succeed, you have to get comfortable saying no. You need to say no to things that don't serve your purpose, no to distractions that waste your time, and no to people who want to pull you in every direction, except the one you need to go. But let's be real, saying no isn't always easy. There's a social pressure to always be available for others, to always say yes, to always put other people's needs above your own. But here's something you need to understand. Saying yes to everyone else means you're saying no to yourself. You're saying no to your dreams, your goals, and the future you're trying to build. It's time to flip that script. You need to start saying no with confidence, because every time you say no to someone else's demands, you're saying yes to your own growth, to your own focus, and to your own success. To set boundaries, the first step is to recognize your own needs. What are the things you absolutely need in order to stay focused? What are the environments, times, and conditions that allow you to work at your best? You can't set effective boundaries if you don't have a clear understanding of what helps you focus and what breaks your focus. Take a moment to reflect on the things that tend to derail you. Is it constant text messages, social media distractions, phone calls that take up your time, conversations that go off topic and drain your energy? These are the things you need to identify so that you can establish boundaries around them. Once you know what distracts you, it's time to set clear limits. You need to communicate your boundaries to the people around you. This is where the real challenge comes in, because setting boundaries often means having difficult conversations. But guess what? These conversations are essential. Without them, you're allowing others to dictate how you spend your time and energy. And that's a recipe for burnout and failure. You don't have to be rude or dismissive, but you do need to be firm and clear. Let people know when you're unavailable. Let them know when you need focused time to get work done. If someone calls or messages you during your focused work hours, don't feel obligated to respond immediately. You can always get back to them later. You don't have to drop everything for every person who reaches out to you. It's also important to recognize that not everyone is going to understand or appreciate your boundaries. Some people will try to push back. They'll try to guilt you, make you feel bad, or make you question your decisions. But that's where you need to stand firm. You need to have the confidence to protect your time, your focus, and your progress. And remember, it's okay to be unavailable. It's okay to not answer every call or respond to every message right away. You are allowed to prioritize your goals, and you are allowed to take the space you need to achieve them. Setting boundaries is not just about saying no to others. It's also about saying yes to yourself. It's about saying yes to your dreams, yes to your time, yes to your goals, and yes to your focus. And the more you practice saying yes to yourself, the easier it becomes to say no to distractions. It's a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. The more you stand up for your needs, the more natural it becomes to protect your time. And as you do this, you'll notice something incredible. The people around you will start to respect your boundaries. They'll begin to understand that you're not being selfish, you're being focused, you're being strategic, you're protecting your future. Now I know what you're thinking. Jim, what if I hurt someone's feelings? What if I disappoint someone? Here's the reality. You can't make everyone happy. You can't please everyone. And you can't sacrifice your own well-being for the sake of other people's comfort. The truth is, if you're constantly saying yes to everyone else, you're never going to make any real progress toward your goals. You're always going to be stuck in a cycle of pleasing others and putting your own needs last. And that's not a life you want to live. It's not a life that will get you to where you want to go. You have to be willing to disappoint others in the short term, if it means protecting your long-term success. As you start setting and enforcing these boundaries, you'll feel a sense of empowerment. You'll feel more in control of your time and energy. And with that control comes a renewed sense of purpose. You'll stop feeling like you're constantly fighting against the world, and you'll start feeling like you're in charge of your own destiny. When you protect your focus, you give yourself the chance to truly excel. You're no longer at the mercy of other people's needs. You're no longer distracted by the noise around you. You're focused, clear, and on a mission. The more you guard your time, the more valuable it becomes. You'll start to see the results of your work piling up. You'll begin to feel a sense of accomplishment that comes from staying on track, from staying focused, and from saying no to distractions. It won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. As you continue to set boundaries, you'll create an environment where your focus can thrive. You'll surround yourself with the people and the conditions that support your growth. And that's when the magic happens. That's when you can make progress, not just in the short term, but over the long haul. Setting boundaries isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. It's about making conscious choices to protect your focus every single day. And as you do, you'll begin to see the results. You'll begin to see how much more you can accomplish when you stop allowing distractions to hijack your time. So set those boundaries. Say no when you need to. Protect your focus, because when you do, you're giving yourself the greatest gift of all, the ability to stay on track and achieve what you've set out to do. Number 10. Refuse to let setbacks derail your commitment to focus. Setbacks are inevitable. They come at you from all directions. You can't predict them, and you can't avoid them. Whether it's a failure in a project you've poured your heart into, an unexpected setback in your personal life, or a challenge that makes you feel like your progress has stalled, setbacks can feel like massive roadblocks in your journey. And here's the harsh reality. Setbacks have the potential to knock you off course if you let them. They can shake your confidence, derail your focus, and make you question whether it's even worth continuing. But here's the truth. You need to internalize. Setbacks do not define you. They don't determine your success. Your response to those setbacks does. It's not the setback itself that will ruin your journey. It's how you react to it. Will you let it throw you off track, or will you use it as fuel to keep going? Life is full of challenges. We can plan, prepare, and work hard. But the truth is that nothing in life is guaranteed to go according to plan. The moment we step into any meaningful endeavor, there's always the risk of a setback. And these setbacks can come in many forms. Disappointments, delays, mistakes, losses, or things simply not going as we expected. And each time, if we're not careful, we can allow them to disrupt our focus, pull us into negative thinking, and take away the commitment we've made to achieving our goals. When a setback happens, it can feel like everything is falling apart. That inner voice starts to speak loudly, saying things like, "This is too hard, maybe I'm not cut out for this," or "What's the point in even trying anymore?" These thoughts are natural, but here's the thing. They're not true. They're just the noise that comes with any challenge. The reality is that setbacks are not signals to quit. They are simply part of the process. Success is not defined by how many times you avoid failure, but by how many times you rise after being knocked down. So when you experience a setback, your commitment to staying focused and pushing forward is what makes the difference. Think about the most successful people you know, whether it's someone you admire personally or a figure in history. What do they all have in common? They've faced setbacks, probably more than most. They've failed. They've been rejected. They've faced opposition and adversity. But what set them apart was not the fact that they never stumbled. It was their refusal to allow those setbacks to derail them. They took every setback in stride, learned from it, and used it to fuel their next move. They didn't let failure define their journey. They used it as a stepping stone. And that's the exact mindset you need to adopt. Setbacks are opportunities. They are signals from life, from the universe, or whatever you believe in, that something needs to change, or that there's something to learn. They're not there to punish you. They're there to teach you, to help you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When a setback happens, the most powerful thing you can do is shift your focus from the problem to the lesson. Instead of seeing the setback as a failure, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What is this teaching me? How can I come back stronger? Every time you answer those questions and find the lesson in the setback, you're growing. You're becoming the kind of person who can handle whatever life throws at you. Now, I know it's not easy. The emotional weight of a setback can be heavy. You may feel frustrated, disheartened, or even angry. Those emotions are real, and it's okay to feel them. You're human. You're allowed to have emotions. But don't let those emotions control you. Don't let them dictate your next move. When a setback happens, acknowledge the emotion, feel it, and then let it go. Don't dwell on it. Don't let it spiral. Let that emotion fuel your drive to come back stronger, to push harder, and to keep going. The key is in how you respond to the setback. When things don't go according to plan, you have two choices. You can either use the setback as an excuse to quit, or you can use it as motivation to double down on your commitment. Refuse to let that setback take away your focus. Refuse to let it steal your energy. Your focus is your most valuable resource, and no setback is worth sacrificing that for. Instead of allowing yourself to get lost in the frustration or the disappointment of the moment, get back to your purpose. Return to your goals. Refuse to let anything take away your commitment to the bigger picture. Remember, there's a big difference between failing and quitting. Failing is part of the process. Everyone who's ever achieved anything significant has failed at some point. In fact, failure is often a necessary step on the road to success. The most successful people fail more times than others. They just keep going and they keep learning. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. But quitting is what guarantees that you'll never see success. It's the decision to stop, to give up, and to walk away. And that's something you should never, ever do. So when a setback happens, and it will refuse to let it derail you, recognize it for what it is, a challenge to rise above. A test to see how badly you want what you're working toward. Use that setback to strengthen your resolve. Take the lesson it offers and apply it. Adjust your approach, but don't lose your focus. Your ability to stay committed in the face of setbacks will set you apart from everyone else. It will be the difference between achieving your goals and letting them slip away. Here's what you need to remember. The path to success is rarely a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, bumps, and yes, setbacks. But if you can refuse to let those setbacks stop you, if you can stay focused, stay committed, and keep moving forward, you'll eventually reach your destination. And when you do, you'll look back at all the setbacks, the challenges, and the obstacles, and you'll realize that they were the very things that made your success even sweeter. They were the things that made you who you are, the person who refused to quit, the person who stayed focused no matter what. So next time you face a setback, don't allow it to steal your focus. Don't let it make you question your worth or your purpose. Take a breath, reassess, and keep going. Refuse to let it derail you. Your commitment to your goals is stronger than any setback you'll face. When you hold on to that commitment, no setback, no matter how big or small, will ever take you off course. The setbacks you face today are preparing you for something bigger tomorrow. Keep your eyes on the prize, and never, ever let anything make you lose focus on what's most important. You've got this. You are strong enough to weather the storms and come out stronger on the other side. Don't let anything, absolutely anything, derail your focus and your commitment to success.